Good morning from New York, guys. Glad to see so many of you in here, although it was pretty short notice. And let's start. It will be recorded, it will be in YouTube. So if anybody who missed it, they'll have a chance to see it in YouTube. And you guys could share the YouTube link because there are a lot of people really don't know where to find it, right? And you can help somebody by sharing the link. You can share it at any one of your social sites. You're on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. You can even tweet it out. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want, you can do. And that means a lot of people get access to it and they can see it. It will help them. So let's start. Let's go. Let me see if I can reduce this video camera and move it away from the stop here. Good. Got it there. Let's start with dollar index as we normally do. We're doing weekly outlooks. So just to make sure you guys see what is upcoming for the next week. So far, the dollar index has been really great for us. If you guys can save the chat for afterwards, that'd be great because I still don't see anything that you type, right? And for the guys that I made, that I promote the panelists, if there is anything important that I'm missing, like there's no song, there's something is wrong with the charts, you guys can use your microphone to tell me because I can't see what the guys are typing, right? So those Kalyan, you and the other guys can use your microphone to let me know if anything is happening. Good. Dollar index. Dollar index has actually been behaving very nice for us, as you can see. If you go to the 2 days chart that I was posting, I like to post this on the 2 days because it gives me more space, right? And if you look at it on the 2 days that we were posting, we've been following this one up and down, and from the very start. So let's see. It's still on the 1 day. Let's go back to the 2 days. Okay, we got it. As you can see, if you're clicking on these charts that we were posting, and there are a number of them more that I post on the 4 hour and so, pretty much. But the 2 days one are showing the long-term trend, which is we were looking for this to come and break the low. Let me take this one off. I'll come back to that. Come on. So if you look at this one, what we were saying at this point is that it should come by the way structure behaves. And the way we understand structure, it is that it should come and break this low. And then start the move to the upside. Basically, what we were looking for was a 1, 2, 3 wave structure. But if you are one of my students, and if you know anything about wave structure, you know they can pretty much be more complex than that. But anytime we're doing a forecast, we will do it with the simple structure of a 1, 2, 3. Does not mean we exclude the fact that it could be a much more complex structure, right? So what we're looking for is a 3-wave structure, which is pretty much what it did. It came down wonderful, break the low here. You can see that they broke the low, and then we are forecasting this move to the upside, which is this move. What we thought was this was going to be an impulse to the upside to break the top and continue as this impulse. But instead of that, what I can see here is this is looking pretty much right now, it's looking as corrective structure or as a leading diagonal. And that is mostly for those who understand what structure is about. It could be a leading diagonal, which means it's going to give us a 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to make a correction like this and then take off. If this is the start of the impulse and this is the first wave within that impulsive move. If it is not, and it is a correction, we're gonna get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're gonna come down to retest this low and break the low. So one of those 2 options are correct. But whatever happens is that if it comes to the top here, it will go back down. Whether it goes down back as a corrective structure or as an impulse within the corrective structure, we will see. But that is what we're expecting. There's another chance that you could actually break out right here. We are not anticipating the break based on our analysis. My traders would know what I'm talking about, something I cannot explain in this room, but my traders would know. But based on our analysis, we are not expecting this to break through here now. We are expecting one more up based on the type of structure we're looking at. One more up, and then that move to the downside. Now, that one more up may or may not happen. It doesn't matter to us because we're not buying from the low. We will buy the breakout of that structure. So we'll allow it to prove that it's breaking this structure here. And then we will be buying. We'll be looking for a buy like this. So that means it will give us an indication of what Euro, Aussie, New Zealand, and all the majors in relationship to dollar will be doing. So right now, If it breaks this structure, we are selling. And I am expecting it to make one more down, not very much more down. It doesn't have to come to the line, but minimum we are expecting it to break this low. So I would not be surprised if we open with a gap on Monday, or if they just come down on Monday and then start the upside, right? That is what we are expecting. A retest of the low. It could gap like they did here. You see what they did here is they gapped there. They gapped it there. They came down, retest the low, and then took off, right? This three wave we actually forecast earlier, right? Pretty much very, very early. If I can see, I'm not sure whether I posted it, but in our trading room, we forecast that three wave structure and then the up move, which worked perfectly. So let's go to the euro and see what we're looking at. The euro is also in a corrective structure, pretty much like the dollar index, except that this corrective structure is not breaking tops and bottoms. If you remember, the dollar index broke the low. This one never, the high, this one never broke the low. So we're still within a corrective structure, either to complete the bigger B wave or either to go up here as a C wave. One of those two are very possible. I'm more convinced of the downside. So we're looking for this to come down, retest this area, this low here, and then go back up to complete the C wave structure. On the 4 hour, if you look at this corrective structure it's in, and it is in a corrective structure, it's a lower level corrective structure. This is your impulse. You got a 1, 2, 3. At that level, we thought this was going to go down, which it did. It did come down some, but then it went back up. It's retesting the top, which is okay. That is within part of this move. You can see the divergence you're going to get there. And then we will look for this move to come down. So if we're going to look for a sell setup on the euro, what we would want to see is a break of this structure here, a smaller flag here, some kind of a 1 hour flag here. And then we would look for confirmation for this trade to go down. And that means this, if we get that, this is likely going to be a very good trade to the downside. So Monday, watch the opening of the market, and we're going to see if they gap below. If they gap below this line here for any reason, wait for them to pull back. Wait for them to make a flag up, and then look for the sell setup. Pang, pretty much been doing what we wanted to do. I posted this pretty early that when it was at the top there, watch for this break. I think it was this chart here. Watch for the break, watch for that move, and then you're going to anticipate the move back to the top, because that is how structure behaves. This one is going to come down to this level, retest that low, which is what we did, I'm pretty sure. Yep, we even came a little lower here, and then we're going to look for the move to the upside. So the move we'll be looking for here now would be this move going up. You want to see this has a chance of coming and break the low. Very, very slim chance, but it is there that they can break the low. And if they break this low, they're going to take off to the upside. So whichever happens, if they break the low first and then take off, or if they keep this here as a corrective structure. If they break the low, it's no longer a corrective structure. But if they keep this as a corrective structure, we're looking for one more up here, retest this top, probably to about a 382 or the 50, somewhere here, and then we're going to look for one more impulse to the downside. The bigger daily structure is not completed. This bigger daily structure that we forecast a year ago to come and break that monthly low is not completed, right? So what we're going to expect in here, come to about the 50, go back for one more down, and then come up for that big move up, right? That possibility exists. So within this corrective structure we're in here now, we're looking for more upside, which means for next week, what you're going to look for here is even if they spike out of this here, you don't have a trade setup. Let them spike out, let them come back up, make a flag, and this trade you can take and you can keep it all the way to the 382 or the 50 by moving your stops. Once you get into profit, all you have to do is move the stops and follow the trade, because this structure, regardless of how this structure goes, whether it breaks the low or not, it is going to go back up, right? That is how these structures behave, and you can literally see them. We have seen thousands of those, and we know how they behave. Aussie, on the other hand, we could be looking for the opposite. While pound will be going up, we could look for Aussie to actually go down. Temporarily, I think Aussie is going to come back to retest the trend line. There is a possibility for one more up, not necessarily, but it could happen. As long as you're above this trend line, you're in an uptrend. So the upside is not negated unless you broke the trend line, right? We've been saying that when traders were selling in here, I warned that be careful, right? Actually, not this sell, they were selling here. Sorry, we actually took this sell here. If you were in my webinar the last time, we took this trade live and we said, watch it when it comes here because the trend line was like this. We had this trend line and we said, watch it when it comes to that trend line. Oh, come on, why is the trend line not drawing now? Give me a second. Oh, wrong one. Erase that and let's get the next one. Yeah, this one. Watch it when it comes here because once it comes here, there's a chance it's going to go back up, right? And that's exactly what they did. There were traders who were selling here, and I post a warning: you can't sell at these stops. You can't sell at these stops. You can't sell at these stops. If you do that, here is the warning I'm going to give you. If you do that, you will get lucky once in a while. 90% of the time, you will be wrong on that trade and you will lose your account. I saw one trader sold this the last time, trying to sell this stop 3 times or 4 times, and he lost all 4 trades, trying to sell these stops, trying to sell these stops. I think about 4 trades. One, this was the first one, this was the second one, this was the third one, this was the fourth one, and all 4 of those trades were lost before the 5th trade actually went. Well, if you win 1 and you lose 4, you're pretty much going to lose your account. There's no question to that. There's no way you're going to win if you get. Remember, if you're having a 25% success rate in your trades, you're going to lose your account. And when you get lucky in one trade, then traders go crazy that their system are working good because they make one winning trade. That's not how trading is about. So what you can wait for here is wait for this to pull back. There's a chance it's going to make a flag here. I'm on the 4 hours, so you will go in the 1 hour and wait for a flag. So on the 1 hour, you actually had a flag already. For those of my traders who are in the trade, you can move to break even. Those who are not in the trade as yet, here's what you're going to do. You will wait for a 1 hour or 15-minute flag on this impulse. It's going to make a pullback, and then you will take the trade down. Depends on how this trade come down here to this trend line. We will make a decision if to keep it or if the move stops and let it take us out, because this could be corrective. And if it is corrective in nature, it will go back up. If it comes very impulsive to the downside, we will keep the trade, because if it breaks this structure, and we have been looking for this trade to the downside for a long while, if it breaks this structure, there is a very, very big trade to the downside, breaking this low and going much lower than that. So the first trade you'll be looking for is a trade within here. That's your first trade. And if it breaks this structure, you're looking for this trade here. That is a big trade, which means you add to the trade you have and you keep it. You don't exit the trade you have, right? New Zealand, let's go to the New Zealand. 1 second, if you look at the New Zealand now, it's pretty similar to what we're looking at on the Aussie. Let me put it on the daily so you will have a better view of it. Yeah. On the daily, we are in this up structure, but that up structure is corrective in nature. It's pretty corrective, which means it could have 1, 2, 3, and they break. Or this could be a 4, go up for a 5, and that will be the final wave before they come down very, very sharp to retest this low and maybe much lower. So for this week, the trade for this week we'll be looking for would be this trade to the downside here. And we watch to see if they break or if they bounced, right? Which means Aussie may bounce also. And if they bounce, this is your last impulse to the upside. You can buy. We would look for buy setups. But once this hit that top and they turn, we're going to sit in this trade to go down for a very, very huge move downside. We have completed a 1, 2, 3 wave structure. This is a very, very huge 3 wave structure. Let me put that in a different color. 1, 2, 3 wave corrective structure. That's an A, a B, and a C wave within a weekly downtrend. That means this move is going to be a weekly impulse coming down. You're going to have an equivalent of this move. Let me see if I can squeeze that and show you. You're going to have an equivalent of this move coming down. An equivalent of a move like this coming down. And it's going to go pretty fast the first couple 100 pips, which would give you a trade that is going to be 10, 20, 30 to 1 if you manage to keep it. If you don't manage to keep it, the first impulse to the downside will give you about 20 to 1, right? Once you get in at a very, very good point. Now, I don't think this one is the one that is going to break out, because this corrective move actually went back pretty high, and this could end up being some kind of a corrective structure at the top here. If you look at this here, this could end up being some kind of a corrective structure. We did break that top, and we did break this low. And this could end up being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave structure before they go back up, which would be a 5-wave expanding triangle, right? Not sure it is that. We cannot prove it's an expanding triangle until it breaks out of the triangle. But we can watch for this. If it breaks here, allow a flag to happen. They will always make a flag. You will always get a flag before it goes down. And if you don't wait for that flag and you sell too early, you're going to watch it make a new top. We've seen that also, right? So what you're looking for is this trade to the downside. This will give you, if you wait for that flag and then sell it, you're going to have about a 7, 8 to 1 risk to reward if you wait for the flag and then sell the trade. Sometimes when you wait for the breakout, you get a much better risk to reward trade. And that is pretty good. So watch this trade here. Watch to see whether it bunks, give us one more, the final impulse to the upside, or if they break. So we have a sell set up this week in New Zealand, very likely. If New Zealand just comes and bunks off this level to go back up, ignore that trade. Because it's going to be less than a 1-to-1 trade, and it's a very high risk trade, something you do not want to do. Swiss is pretty perfect. Let me show you this trade. I see people have been going crazy about some Swiss trade that some person put. We've been forecasting this Swiss trade for forever. And this entire structure we've been looking at perfectly. Actually, we have one of our traders who trade the Swiss dollar, Swiss, Euro Swiss, and the pound Swiss. And she's doing magnificent. She actually made these very same forecasts and that we're looking at. So right now we're looking at this structure in here. As you can see, I showed this structure in the last webinar we did. We're coming down to this level, and then we're going to anticipate it to either break, come to this low, or probably go back up more for one more, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave structure, and then come down. At the end of the day, you're going to get a down move. Remember the dollar index? We said there is a chance dollar index goes up back for one more, but then it could come back down, right? Let me just remind you of the dollar index here. Bring back the dollar index. There is a chance the dollar index goes up back for one more and then come down for that shot. The Swiss is showing you a very similar structure because it follows the way the dollar index moves. That is because the dollar is in front of it, right? So we're looking for a little more down here, one more up, complete this corrective structure, and then this down move. So there is a possibility for that. Let's look at the 4-hour to see if we're going to get that move. They may or may not finish this low. I don't think they finish this low, so I think we will get some more downside here. Retest this low like the dollar index expected to do, and then look for this one up. One more up to that top, and then the downside. This is a 5-wave WX, Y, X, Z structure, and then we're going to look for the downside, right? So what trades we can get into this coming? I can see they're making a corrective structure. We actually posted this one from here for that up move and then the downside. I'm not sure where is that post, but it's somewhere posted in one of my charts. I think it's here. Look for a pullback and then look for that trade to the downside. Yeah, look for that pullback and then look for the trade to the downside. Pretty much what it did, right? It made a deeper pullback, but your breakout would have come here. If you're looking for your breakout trade, that would have been somewhere in this area here. Oh, sorry, wrong one. That would have been somewhere in here. So you could have got in somewhere there. If you're not in that trade, go into 1 hour and wait for this to happen. Wait for them to break this flag. There is a corrective structure in the making right now. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see it. There's a corrective structure in the making right now here. You got one up. You got a pullback. You're going up. You could get another pullback. You could get another up. Somewhere in here, they're going to make some kind of a correction, and then they're going to break it to the downside, right? So this would be a good trade if they have it. If they just keep going up, you will have to wait for them to make a flag. Wait for this impulse to prove it's going to continue to go up by making a flag here. And then you trade it to the upside. Let's say let's assume this is the low. That is what they will do. If this is not the low, they're going to come down here and then go up. So Once we have a sense of the direction in which it is going to move, all you have to do is have a good strategy to trade it. That is something we have in our room. For every different patterns and setups that we see, we have a strategy how to trade them, right? CAD, that's what CAD is doing in the daily. This is a very, very nice daily corrective structure, but I think we have more upside before we go down. I don't think it's going to be over so fast. Time-wise, it's not ready to go. So on the 4-hour, you can look for a trade to the upside, right? This could be a much more complex structure, so don't try to sell the breakout immediately here, but you can buy this breakout going up. This looks like a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and look for more upside. You had a 1, 2, 3 here, and you had an upside to that structure there, right? You had a 1, 2, 3 here. This one was a little messy. It did go up, but it didn't break the top, and then it took a long time to go. So what you're looking for here is an up move. You can start buying this pretty early in the 1 hour. You don't have to wait to buy that breakout. You can actually buy this breakout. It breaks out here, pull back, give you a flag, and you can take this trade up. That will be this trade. And then you can wait for the breakout to go. So I think there's more upside in this. It's corrective, so I don't think it's going to move pretty fast unless there's a news event pushing it. You know, they'll probably use the news event to go fast. The bigger picture, which is in the dailies to the downside, but that will take a very long time to come. If they break this low, don't jump into the sell. Wait for a corrective structure, because if they do, they may break this structure and still go back up, which means we will be looking at this, this, and this as a bigger corrective structure before they go, right? That possibility exists. And then this one goes up. So by breaking that line, do not jump into a trade. It's too early. Yen. Yen has one more downside, that is pretty sure. They broke the corrective structure, so we're looking for one more downside. They're consolidating right now under the wedge. You can see under the 1, 2, 3 wave structure. There's a consolidation going on here. Put this in the 4-hour, and it looks to me like they're making some kind of a, 1, probably 2. They could come back here for a 3 and then go down. Just a bigger corrective structure. I don't see them going up as yet. It's more of a bigger corrective structure, but it's in a 4 hours, so you can have a better view of what I'm thinking. See, what I'm thinking is this. I don't think this is ready to go. See, they broke this here, but they're not going as yet. So that means we could probably see this one come up back here. One more upside on the yen, and then the downside. Yen looks very much down. I wouldn't be looking for a buy in the yen until it breaks this structure. It has to break this down structure here before I start looking for buys. As long as it's under that down structure, we're looking for a sell setup for one more low, because we're in a downtrend, a very, very well-structured downtrend. So look for this here. This trend is still corrective on daily. That is a big corrective trend on the daily. You can see on the daily that that is a big corrective trend. We've had a 1, 2, 3 wave structure down, 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3 up, and we are getting a 1, 2, 3 wave structure down, right? So watch for this downside here. We may get a nice trade to the downside, and then we could see the upside happen. So yen, if I'm trading yen, I'll be looking for a sell setup on it. Euro Oz. Okay, Euro Oz did break down. We were looking to see whether they're making a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure. They didn't do that. They broke the structure here, so that means it's a 1, 2, 3 flat. 1, 2, 3 expanding flat. For those of you who know anything about structures, we're studying structures. We did break the low. That confirms this impulse to the downside. What we don't know is if this impulse is completed. It could still go more down, right? We don't know that as yet. And there's only one way to know that. They have to break. If they're going to go up, they have to break this trend. When they break this trend, there's a huge move to the upside. But if they don't break that trend, what you will find happening is they'll come like this. And then we're going to have a downtrend, right? You're going to make a flag there, and then we're going to have a downtrend. Let me put that to the daily so we can see the entire structure. So on the daily, there is a bigger wedge pattern that we also broke. We were looking at this daily wedge as well. Some of you may remember this daily wedge. I took it off because it's no longer valid. It's not a wedge. Let me just put it like this. And 1 second. Good. We were looking at this as a possible daily wedge, but we did break out of it and we broke the low. So that negates the possibility for a wedge, right? So what you can look at now is an impulse to the downside. You're looking at a 1, 2, 3 flat correction. This is not a really normal flat correction, because the normal flat correction, the C wave will go above the top, right? You have these very often happen where the C wave doesn't go, well, not so often, sorry. You have them happen every now and then where the C wave does not go above the top and then it starts to come down. And that may lead you to think you're in some kind of a triangular pattern, right? It does happen and you will never know until they break out. So they broke out now. What we're going to look for here is this piece. If this makes a flag here, let me just see, where's that? If we make a flag here without breaking that trend line, you're looking for one more downside. If they go and break this trend line, let them make a flag above the trend, because if they make a flag above here, we're looking for a big move to the top. They're going to retest this top here. That will be a very, very big move. So if you're going to look for buy setups on this one, I would suppose you wait about a week or two before you actually get a confirmed buy setup that will give you a couple, maybe 1,000 pip or more to the upside, right? The sell setup, you can get that within this week, maybe within this first couple days. If there's a sell setup, which means we look for a breakout of this structure here. Probably they're going to make more consolidation. I don't think this consolidation is over if they're going to sell. So if you get a sell and the break of this, when it comes to this low, put it to break even, because they can go back up and give you a 1, 2, 3 wave structure before they go down. So if you take this sell, you put it to break even when you get about 50 pips, 40 to 50 pips, because from that trend to where it could go. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to see how many pips we have there. From the break of this trend to the, what happened to this now, man? Come on. What happened to this tool? It's not working. It's the measure tool, why it's not working. Okay, I don't know why it's not working. I'll come back to that. Maybe it's attached to, give me a second, let me see. Nope, nothing is there to attach. I have no idea why it's not working. Well, you can measure from day to day. That's a couple hundred pips. So when it gets like plus 40, you put it to break even and leave it. Wait to see whether you get this sell set up on it. May or may not happen. You were in New Zealand. This is one I posted. This is a big daily structure. We've been tracking this structure for a while, watching it to see where it's going. And for this week, short term, you may get a sell. That is short term. On the longer term, we're looking for this to go up. The longer term, I actually posted this in the daily before, and it's actually moving exactly the way we say it's going to move, the way we anticipate this to happen. When it was here, somewhere in here, we said they'll probably make one more move down to about a 786 and then start to go up. Down to the 786, start to go up. And if you want to have some fun, you can go and read the comments on that one, because there was a lot of trolling going on there, with people making all kinds of crazy suggestions and saying crazy things because they have no idea how structure works, right? It came down and now it's going up. It's making a corrective structure and it will continue to go up. These things never move in a straight line, guys. That is why it's a wave structure theory. It doesn't move in a straight line, it moves in waves. So if you understand how waves work, you can understand that you're making a wave, and a wave would look like this. That's the minimum of how a wave would look. If you've ever been in my previous webinars, you will always hear me say, wait for an impulse, wait for a correction, and then buy the next impulse. Come on, buy the next impulse. That's your trade. Never try to pick the bottoms. You know, people who pick bottoms, what they do, this is what they do. They buy here, and then this one comes, knock them out, and then go back up. They buy the bottom here again. It goes up a little, come knock them out, they buy the bottom again, goes up a little, and they lose about 6 trades in here before they buy one of this, and then it goes. and then they jump and say they got it right. You will not get it right. You would lose a lot of trades if you do that, right? We don't know what the bottom is until it broke out of the structure completely. So on the 1 hour, there is a chance that this move going up is not aggressive enough, right? This is not an aggressive move. So on the 1 hour, we're looking for a 1 hour sell, retest of the low, and then this move to go up, right? As you can see, this move here, this corrective structure, came down a little. This one came down a little. This one came down a little, right? So we're looking for the possibility that this could come down first, right? This is a daily structure that I post to the upside. We're looking for a breakout. We haven't got a breakout. So on the 1 hour, you could get this trade first, and then you could get the trade to the upside. If it breaks, it makes, we have a strategy how to trade this. If you have a strategy, which means if you can trade and you understand what you're doing and you've been testing trades and all of that, you can actually use this chart for the sell first and then for the buy, because the sell is a pretty good one too. And most likely my traders will be looking first for this sell if it happens, right? If we get that sell, that's a good trade, and then it could reverse. Now, it might not do that. And what it might do is it might just break here slightly, go back like this. We will not take this. We don't just buy because one candle come out of the structure. And if we see something like this, then this is my trade. And that is a trade I'll be keeping for a very, very long time. Right now, I am not actively trading, at least for the last 2 weeks, because when I'm on holidays, I don't know when I'll have a chance to look at the chart, so I really don't take any trades. But if I see this one, I'll likely take this, put my stop, and just walk away, right? This is a very nice trade, and we're waiting it for a long time, so it will happen. It's just a matter of time. EURUSD in a very similar structure. You can see this structure, and this structure also has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you look at this EURUSD, this chart here, look at this piece. See this piece here that just broke, pull back, and now it's going down? Look at the Euro New Zealand. See that piece I was showing you there? But look at it in a 1 hour. Very similar structure, break, pull back, and then it could probably go down. So you can get a sell setup. If the EURUSD is a good example of how those behave, pull back, and now you can get a trade to the downside. So you can look for a sell setup on the EURUSD, which means I think EURUSD may come back one more down here. Retest this low, and then we can look for an up trade, because this bigger structure here is corrective in nature. Right? This was your impulse. Let me put it so you can see. This was your impulsive move up. Come on. This is your corrective move. Right? So you'll be looking for a buy after this sell setup is finished. There's a sell there, small sell, and then there's a bigger buy structure to go with that. Euro yen. Euro yen has a sell setup in it. I think you can see that clearly. We made a 1, 2, 3, and they started to come down. They broke out of this. Remember, we said if they break this structure, you're looking for a sell setup, and you actually have a very nice flag here for a sell. You got a 1, 2, 3 wave. If they come here 4, they could make 1 more 5, and they're going to break. Look for a break of this structure and look for this sell. Retest of this low to the trend line, and then maybe back up. So that is a good sell setup right now. At least one more retest of that low, and then we would look to see whether they're going to start to move to the upside or they'll continue to go. I don't think it has a lot more to continue to go down. We're getting a lot of divergence, and you will have a lot of divergence if they break. You can see that. If they break this low here, you're going to have a lot of divergence. And that is a good indication that you may start the up move very soon. EuroCAD, this one is going up slowly but surely, right? It is just continued to go up very, very slow. This move is probably correcting here, and you may get one more spike to this level. Once they break this low, this high here, I will start to look for a downside, right? So EuroCAD is slightly different from the Euro Oz, Euro Yen, Euro New Zealand, sorry, Euro Yen, EURUSD. And that is because of the CAD factor in this. This down move will not be because of Euro. It is likely going to be because of the CAD, right? So watch the dollar CAD, watch the Euro CAD, and watch the pound CAD if that starts to go down. right? It's still in consolidation. It's probably going to be there for a very long time. Euro pound. Okay, it's going up, but I'm still looking, even though they broke the top here slightly by a couple pips, I'm still looking for one more downside before that big move happens. Because it never goes in just one wave. Rarely. Most of the time you get a 1, 2, 3 wave correction before you go up. In this case, it was a 1, 2, they broke the top, they came back for a 3, and then they went up. This is a good example of what we're looking for. Let me just stretch this some more so you can see. They made an impulse up. They made a wave down. They made a wave higher. They broke the top. These are what you call expanding flats. They came down, break the low, and then they took off. We made a move up. We made a move down. We broke the top slightly. We are looking for one more down, break the low for an expanding flat. Could be a running flat, which means they may not break the low. And then we're looking for that big wave to the upside. So on a 4-hour, you can already see why you're looking for that sell. See the divergence here? So I'm already looking for this sell set up here, then this sell set up here, and then the up move. So just pull this line across here. Take off this bit of, sorry, let me just take that off. Not this, man. I'm using a very small screen on a laptop, so that's a little confusing for me. I'm used to my big screens, right? And I'm used to 6 screens when I do my work. So we're looking for this trade. You may get this trade. It could go up some more, right? They could probably crawl up some more here. But look for this trade down, this sell setup here. And then you're looking for this sell setup. And then you can look for the impulse to the upside. You're looking for a 1, 2, 3 wave corrective structure, right? You can see that coming already. Pause. If some of you are not really following what I'm doing because you don't know structure, you don't understand why I'm looking for that way, don't bother yourself too much. It's a long training process. You have to really learn structure before you understand it, which means eventually if you watch all my webinars, you will get a little of it, but you will still not learn it. It's just taking the course that will help you do that. So if you look at the British pound Oz, we have a lot of divergence here, right? And they're coming down still. So which means that this could still go down some more. This piece here looking corrective, could still go down some more. For us to start buying, we have to see a sharp impulse up, see some correction in that, and then we can start the buy process. I think there is some more downside here. Eventually it is going to go up, but in the shorter time frame, 1 hour, 15 minutes, you're actually looking for some sell setup. You can see this actually making a flag here, a small flag. And you may get one more to the downside. This is a nice short trade. And then look for the upside. So as long as it stays beyond the trend line, we can look for sell setups. This is a nice flag. So if they don't spike above the trend line, they just make smaller corrections here, look for a sell setup. So the upside is coming very soon though. But you have at least one more sell. Pound New Zealand daily. Very similar structure, except that this may be over very soon. You can see the divergence we're getting here in these 2 pieces here, making a lower low on the 4-hour with huge divergence. It did make double bottom and very huge divergence. So nobody says we can go one more down. I'm not interested in that sell. I'm interested now in the buy, this trade. That is the trade I'm interested in. Because once that trade happens, remember Euro New Zealand has a chance of the upside. Some more downside and then the big trade to the upside. I think similar here. This could be see one more downside. Maybe they'll just come back here first and then make one more down and then go. This structure here. Let me see if I can pull this. This structure here will break to the upside. Regardless of whether they break this low once more. And they can break that low some more, which means we can still get some downside here. Not a great setup for a sell, by the way. If you can get some downside here, but you will eventually go up. So the better chance to look for is a bigger trade to the upside. Pound Chief, they all have very similar structures. If you notice, they're coming down. They're even about to break the low, but they're not coming down very impulsively. They're not coming down like these impulse. See, these are impulsive moves. These are very impulsive moves. This is a very impulsive move. This is actually coming down like this. We call them the squeeze. It's a pattern that we noticed for a while, and we call them the squeeze, the AB squeeze. 99% of these go up. You can take note of that. 99%, if you know what the AB squeeze is, 99% of them go to the upside. Very rarely you see one of them drop off this bottom and go to the downside. Very rarely. Most of the time you'll see them go up. So that means you're starting to look for the upside very soon. Right? They may come a bit higher. Put that in the daily. What we would look for, it could go, like I said, that is one of the rare ones. If you're going to look for a sell setup, it has to make a pullback like this and then go for the sell. 99% of these would go up first. They would go up here first and then come down. So you're going to have a 1, 2, 3 wave structure, and then you're going to come down. You're going to have a 1, 2, 3 wave structure and then come down. You're going to have a 1, 2, 3 wave structure and then go up. You're going to have a 1, 2, 3 wave structure and then go up. So if that is what they do every time, what are the likelihood they will repeat the same thing here? If you see the same thing happening over and over, what is the likelihood it's going to happen? The bigger structure of this is to the downside. I posted that on the monthly and on the weekly. I think on the monthly it was posted. Let me see if I can find it. It's on the monthly or in the weekly. Before they broke, we posted that chart. I think it's on the weekly. Let me see. Yeah, this structure here. Corrective structure that will break to the downside, and that was this chart was posted 5 months ago. 5 months ago, I have no idea what the fundamentals would be, but the structure is telling me they're going to break out. See that 5 months ago, the structure told me look for this to break out of this structure and continue to go down. Right? Pretty simple. As long as you understand how structure behaves. We broke out. What we're looking for here now is a corrective structure. This upside is part of a corrective structure. So if they make this upside here, if they make this upside here, it's part of a bigger corrective structure we're looking at, and then more downside. See, I already have it drawn to show more downside in it. Not more upside, but more downside. So hopefully we could be looking at this as a 1, 2, 3 flat, and then downside. If this is to continue to go down, don't jump into the trade here. Wait for it to break the low. Wait for them to make a flag to the upside, and then look for a sell setup. Because if you jump in the break of that low, as some people like to say, it broke their resistance, so they're selling, and then they watch it come back up, took out their stop, and then go down. Well, because there's nothing like support and resistance in the chart. I cannot say that enough. I mean, I've been saying that forever, and people still believe they can see support and resistance in the chart. These are statistics. Data's plotted on a chart. Data plotted in a chart does not have support and resistance in it. If you see that and you start looking for it, you will get yourself into trouble. You will lose your account. I can't say it's slower. You will lose your account if you trade support and resistance because it doesn't work. And the simple reason it doesn't work is because it doesn't exist. What you think you see is your imagination that there's a support there. It is not there. And when it breaks your support, you have a very nice explanation to say, well, you know, sometimes they break the support, sometimes they break the resistance. That's not what it does. That is just you're searching for things that does not exist. And for those of you who are new, I will show you at the end of the webinar why it doesn't work. I think most of you, 88 people in this room, so I'm pretty sure all 88 of you have seen how I showed you that those lines does not work, how you can control it. It simply doesn't work. If you can keep your chat for the end of the thing, I'll show you why it doesn't work. Pong Yen. Pongcat, we actually skipped. I think we didn't miss Pong. Yeah, Pongcat actually is going down. Pongcat is in a downtrend. Pongcat is making a pretty huge downside here. Any pullback would be, we don't have a pullback. Let's go into 4 hours, see if we have any pullback. We had a pullback, but they broke and they went. You see, they broke that pullback. That was a nice corrective structure. They broke and they go. So if you're going to look for a sell setup, we're getting some divergence. This doesn't mean anything as yet. If you're going to look for a sell setup, you'll have to look for a pullback here. And then look for that sell setup, right? Look for some kind of a deeper 4-hour flag here. Don't sell immediately now because it's not going to go very far. They've moved a bit already, so they'll make a correction before they go down. So you'll have to wait for a sell setup on this one. Pound yen, very similar to the rest of the pound trades. And that means this could also break the low. But even if it breaks the low, it is going to go up for one more, giving us a 1, 2, 3 wave structure before we get the next big impulse to the downside. So then for this week, if I'll be looking at any trade for the pound, it will be a buy setup once they break out of this structure. Now, there is a chance, 1 in 10, they break through this structure. But for me to look for a sell setup, they first have to break through. They have to make a corrective structure up here and then look for the sell setup. Otherwise to that, I'm not jumping into a sell setup. I'm not trading based on luck. I'm not hoping that if I jump into the trade, luck is on my side and it will go. If the structure shows me that there's not a high probability trade, it could go, but the probability of it going is less than 80%, I'm not in that trade. We look for trades that has higher probability, which means statistically 80% of the time they behave that way. Statistically, this trade breaks out to the upside 90% of the time. So I would wait for the up trade rather than take the 10% trade to the downside with no statistics on my side. I am not playing with my luck in trading. Aussie, New Zealand, Aussie yen, sorry. We've got a very big move here. They broke out of this structure, and it looks to me like they're in a deeper, big sideways move here. This structure eventually, this entire structure eventually will go up. The question is when. Remember, we're looking at a weekly structure, right? And we've been showing this structure for a long while. This is the low. I strongly believe this may be the low. I don't think they're going to make another low. The wave is not over, but I don't think they'll be making another low. So what I would likely see here, what I think we can see here, is this coming down some more here, but then taking off to the upside, making a much bigger 1, 2, 3 wave structure. I don't think they will break this low. It's possible they can, but I don't think they will break that low because structurally it's looking more to the upside than the downside. What you can do here is look for a sell setup on a 1 hour, which means on the 1 hour, you're going to wait for this to make a flag. It will make a flag, a very small flag here. I'm just drawing it big so you can see, but you'll be looking for a small flag, something like that. And then you would look for your trade to the downside to retest this low. So this would be your trade. That would be your first trade. And then you'll move your stops and see how far it goes, right? Because we can't tell how far that is going to go. Similar structure in the New Zealand yen. We know dollar yen has some more downside, so New Zealand yen is showing similar. Aussie yen is showing similar, which means Euro yen is showing similar structure downside. Euro yen is showing you more downside possibility, right? If this breaks out here, you have a chance it's going to come to about a 270 here. Pound yen could crawl down some more, not necessarily give you a big trade to the downside, but it could crawl down some more if you get a small flag here. You could get a 1 more trade here, but this is a very small trade if you're looking at pound yen, right? Eventually, they're going to break out to the upside, right? Let's see what Swiss yen is showing us. Similar structure on a 4 hour, you can see we're in this big downtrend. Let me put that on a daily so you will see it. It's a very huge downtrend, but eventually we're going to go up because we are getting huge divergence here. This structure will eventually go back up because they may come and retest this low, but then you're going to look for 1 more move back to the top of the bigger trend. That is this move here. 1 more move to the top there. We're going to have a trend that goes like this. Something like this. Right? An impulse down, a correction, another impulse down. Come on. What's wrong with this? Okay, my drawing tool is giving a headache. 1 more impulse down, maybe 1 more correction here, and maybe 1 more impulse down. Right? So we'll see how it goes. 4 hour. Short term, you have a sell setup. You can look for a sell setup short term just to retest the low. This piece here. Look for a short trade down here, and then you can start to look for the up trade. So once they break that low, they will have so much divergence that it's likely going to be turning. The indication is likely going to be turning. Take this off. You can see that this one is already breaking structure too. Take this out. 1, 2, 3 up. We came down. We're making a flag here. This is a very nice flag to sell. All the yen pairs are showing you this. There's a nice flag here. See that? Up, down, up, down, up. Watch this to probably come down and break, and this will be your trade. It could go up some more here, but it's going to break, and that will be your trade. Right? Aussie, New Zealand, I hope a lot of you are in this trade already. Well, some of you would have been taken out of it. You should have been taken out because your first buy was here. I think the first buy came in on this one here. See, there's a buy set up here. So if you buy once it gets to the top there and you put even to break even, you're out of that trade. Now it's making a much bigger correction. I'll put it as making a much bigger correction. We've got an impulse up. Some of my traders bought the 786. I don't know if they're still in. Some of them may be keeping it. You got an impulse. You got a one wave here. Some of my traders bought here. That means this one would have taken them out to break even if they didn't take profit. I didn't think they were taking profit, so that's a break even trade, right? You got 1, 2, 3. I think we can come back and retest this low, and then it's going to take off. If this makes a very, very big correction here, we're going to have a corrective structure once they get there, which means we're going to only come to this level and then probably come back down. We're going to be in this correction for the next 6 months or so, right? So first, you're going to look for a trade to the downside if it's possible. Let me see in the 1 hour if we have a downside trade. No, you're not going to get it. It's not set up for a sell, right? It may just fall. If it comes down, it may just come down like this, right? We're looking for them to break this low in a 1, 2, 3 way structure and then probably go back up. The bigger picture is showing us upside, right? The bigger picture is showing you a breakout of this here. And if you notice, they had a similar structure here when they broke out. They broke out of this one here. You see this one going down? This was your first breakout, and then they came back pretty deep, went up, came back pretty deep, but then took over. This is your first breakout. You got a deep structure, you get a pullback, you get a deeper structure here, and then you get upside. Not breaking the low. I don't think they're going to break the low. It doesn't look like they're going to break the low. So we're looking for that to go up. Now, this up move here may not be the final move, may not be the end of the corrective structure, right? This bigger corrective structure. 1, 2, 3. It may or may not be. I think it is, but we will see when they get there what happens. If they don't break out, then you will get one more downside like this to about the 886, and then you're going to go up. This will definitely go up. It's just a matter of, is it going to be a 5-wave corrective structure or a 3-wave? I think it's a 3-wave, but let's see. We never trade what we think. We trade what the charts are doing, right? So watch this correction. Short term, you don't want to sell. You're not going to get it. Wait for the buy. Wait for this break to buy. Or if you can get it from a low. Low is a little risky, but I think we will try to take the low if we get it. If it comes lower, comes back to about this area here, you can put a stop under the low, take this trade and go, because it's going to complete a 1, 2, 3-wave structure within that corrective structure. We've already have an impulse here. So it is a risky trade, but it's worth doing because you're going to get a very good risk to reward in it. You're going to have very, very small stop with very little, with a very, very small risk on. XAG just correcting. I think we showed this already and we said it's going to correct. It's in a very long-term correction. Don't try to buy and sell in within this correction. It is going to make a correction. It's going to break this structure. It may be long-term, much bigger than this. I don't know what pattern it's going to take. But so far, it's looking like flats or double or triple. And then we're going to look for the one more. This correction is going to take a month or 2 more, maybe. I don't think so. I think about a month more before it's actually ready to go. This up move looks to me like a leading diagonal, an expanding leading diagonal, something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make a deeper correction here. And then we're going to look for a very sharp move to the upside. So trading silver now is if you're doing it very short term, you're trying to catch a couple pips in a very short term trade, right? With a nice setup in it in a 15-minute or so, then it's possible. You can see we're probably making some corrections here also in gold. And then we may or may not get one more up. Gold has a possibility because we have divergence here. Gold has a possibility of coming and breaking this structure before it goes up. It's going to go up some more. The question is whether they're going to break the structure here first. So in terms of a sell setup, let's see. Maybe, you could take the risk if you're a gold seller and you understand how gold moves. You could take the risk of, I'm not sure this is a perfect setup here, but it's kind of a setup. See that? On a 1 hour, it will be much better. And a 1 hour, you can see it like this. I'm going to put this up here. You're already getting a breakout here. So if this breakout consolidates some more here, you can sell for the retest of this low. So it might be a good risk to reward trade in the sell and the gold to the downside. It's short term because I'm in the 1 hour and it's very short term. So all we'll be expecting that to do is come back and retest this low here for a 1, 2, 3 wave structure. Come on. It may, if you're lucky, it may go lower, but I'm not playing on luck. At least you have a very good trade, at least to retest this low. And if it goes lower, tap yourself on the back. You got lucky because the potential is for that. Oil is in a big sideways move right now. I doubt this is all the correction, but if you get a buy setup here, if they pull back and you get a little flag here in a 1 hour, take this trade up. I don't think it's going to go up. I can tell you what I think it's going to do. I think we are still in the consolidation, and I think this is going to make a flag here, pull back like this, come back here for one more, and then probably go, which means we will be going sideways for a while before it goes. But I may be wrong, and this may just take off, which means this was all the consolidation, right? So a buy setup is very, very valid, and if you get it, you can take it. We already have a trend to the upside in the 4 hour. You see that is a 4 hour trend to the upside. So what you can do is follow this 4 hour trend. Come on. Yep. Follow that. Wait for a pullback here. Come on. Wait for a flag here and then buy. Wait for another flag and then buy. At some point, you'll move your stop and it will probably take you out for break even if it's going to go down. If it's not going down, you're in wonderful trades to the upside. If it's making 3 waves, it's going to come back. Somewhere here, we will see the structure coming down. But when it happens, then we will see it. It's too early to tell. So if you're trading oil, look for buy setups. Natural gas also completed almost a 3-wave pattern. It could be a 5. They completed 1, 2, 3. It could come back here, and you could get a 5, and then you can go. This is a corrective structure to go up. No question about that. We've been tracking this very, very close. And it has been perfect in doing what we wanted to do, right? Starting from here, starting from this buy, starting from this buy, starting from this buy, and we had another buy somewhere in here, and I think another buy somewhere in here. Some of those were taken out for break even or taken out for positive because we anticipated a deeper correction here. And this is going to be a big move once this correction is over. Once this correction is over, there's a big move to the upside, right? How long will this correction take? I have no idea, but I think it will take a month or so more. Can you trade within the correction? Yes, you can trade. It's a little risky, but you can trade if you get a very nice structure within it. You can, if this makes a nice flag, you buy it to the top of this corrective structure. And if you get a flag here, you can take a trade up to the top. It may not go so fast, so you'll put it to break even and see what happens to you, right? But that is a very possible trade. Okay, we don't really look at anything else, but I'm going to look at the S&P 500 for those of you who trade it. I know a lot of you do. So, okay, my baby is waking up now, so that may be the end of the webinar. I've been posting this for a long while and showing that it's in an uptrend, that it will be going up. A lot of traders were very pessimistic. They thought it's the end of the world and that's it. It's going to go down. The big recession and the big depression is coming, and then they got a shock. They realized that corrective waves behave that way, right? Then a lot of them became wave traders, which is good. I'm always glad when I see a lot of new wave traders coming up on TradingView. It's a corrective structure. We're going up, and this may be the final wave before you get a deep pullback, right? So when that happened, they were all going to say, well, I thought it was going to do that. I told you it's going to do that. No, you told me the wrong time. That's it. You said it's going to happen, but you were wrong on the timing. See this here? See this here? This is going to go up. I think I can't say exactly where, but we'll follow the structure to see where. Somewhere here, once they broke this top, you could see a big move down, a deeper correction to the downside. It is very possible. You can already see divergence in the chart here. Put it in the 4 hour. No, sorry, not 4 hour, 1 day. Put it in daily. And the daily, you can see we're making a move up here. We broke out of the correction. This was the corrective structure. 1, 2, 3. Very simple. 1, 2, 3. We are making a move up. We made a smaller correction. While this was happening, I was also saying that this is a smaller correction. Just be careful, a smaller correction. Still in the uptrend. You see that? Still in the uptrend, not a downtrend. Don't worry with that one there. It's not going to kill you. And then you're still here, and this is probably going to go up some more. You know, this thing moves like this. So you can watch it as it moves like that, and you may have divergence all the way. Eventually, it's going to break. But they can climb all the way to that 270. Watch that 2,450 area, 2,500 area, somewhere there. So I still think there's more upside. Depends on what time frame you trade this. I would not trade this in shorter time frame. It's pretty difficult to do that. I'll be trading it in longer time frame. Okay, let me see what questions are there now. I'll open the chat and I'll take some questions. Okay, 1 second, guys. I'll go back and I'll see from where I can start. Hi, everyone. Typing anything here, please send everyone to all of us. Hi, everyone, if you're typing here. Oh, send the question to everybody. Okay, thank you, Bulen. Bulen's one of my traders. He knows we have nothing to hide. You know, basically, when I do webinars, I like everything to be seen. I like all your chats, your questions, everything. I have nothing to hide. We are not this webinar where we don't want people to see what comments are being made. I actually chose this site because it allows us to do that. That's why we're no longer on online and this go to webinar, because we couldn't see it. It does work. It does work if you add confluence. Okay, I'm not sure what that's why I told you guys to keep your question, because I don't know what the question is. Support is self-fulfilling prophecy because other traders and firms use it. How do you say support really doesn't work when you use them on your charts? PP, I don't have an idea what you're talking about. I don't use them on my charts. And they don't work. And there's nothing like a self-fulfilling prophecy in the chart. If you believe that, you're probably going to end up in deep trouble. Let me show you why it doesn't work. I'm going to take any charts you want. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me just pick any chart. Aussie Cat, I didn't do anything in the Aussie Cat. So I don't know what the Aussie Cat chart looks like. I'm going to put it on a 1 hour for you, because I guess that is where you look for your support or resistance, or 4 hour. Right? Most people look for their support and resistance. I'm going to move the charts away so that I don't see where the support and resistance are. Oh, come on, Aussie Cat. Let me go back to the Aussie Cat. Right? I'm going to move the charts away so I can't see where they are. I don't know where the charts actually is. And I'm going to take your support and resistance lines and show you magic. I'll put it here. And I'll put one here. And if you want, I can put one in the middle of those two. And if you want, I can put one at the top here. And let me put a couple at the bottom here for you, just for you. So let's squeeze the chart so we can put more. Push the charts up. We don't know where the charts are. We can put some here. And we can put some here. Those are the support and resistance lines you use. Let's see how perfect they are now. Let's go back into the charts and see how perfect those lines are. Here is what support and resistance people will tell you. You see that one there? You see what happened when it hit that resistance? It bongs. They're going to say, you see what happened when it hit the support here? It bongs. You see what happened when it hit the support here? What they're not showing you is what magicians do. They don't tell you what happened here or what happened here, right? They're showing you the areas where they touch it. So you see what happened when it came to that resistance area? It went right back down. Look at that magic, right? Perfect. You can't get it better than that, man. That's the power of the support. It's BS. I didn't even know those charts were there. And let's go backwards some more and look at this. This one is like magic. I'm the great magician. Look at that. That's a strong support. You see what happens when it hit that support? Look what happens here when they hit this, the resistance or the support or whatever you want. Look what happens when they hit resistance there. See that? It works like magic. Right? The only thing about this magic is that I didn't even know the charts were there. I have no clue where the charts are. I just put lines accidentally. And anything you put accidentally that works, You probably don't want to use that for your trade. Look at this one. I love this, man. This is, you can't get it better than this. They used it there, they used it here. Look at this. Look at all this. Look at all this resistance here. Look what they were doing in here when they come back. It's all BS. It's what you believe. It's make believe. It's showing you something and telling you, see how it works, you see how it works. It doesn't work. You can't trade it. There is no strategy to trade that. Here's why there's no strategy to trade. You want me to show you? I'll show you why. So it comes down here and it bounces, and then they draw the line and they said, okay, this is the resistance line. When it comes to that resistance line, you should buy because it's going to bounce off the resistance. So the first time it's buy, you didn't bounce because you didn't know the resistance were there. So you said to yourself, it comes back to the resistance, I'm a buyer. I'm going to put my stop here, and my target is way at the top there. Look what happens to you. Boom, your stop is off, it goes. It makes a new resistance here. They said, okay, maybe you see what happened here. These were good resistance. This is the good resistance line. We found it here now. This is the one. That was the wrong one. So when it comes to this resistance, you buy. Your target is at the top here. You put a stop under this one here now because that is the low. This was the low. You put a stop there. It goes up some. Everybody happy. Then it does this boom and then go there. And you just lost two trading support and resistance. That's crazy stuff. You will never, ever win trading support and resistance. You got another nice one here. See what they said? Okay, we found it. It was going up. It pulled back. It found the support. Buy at this support. Buy at that support. You buy, it goes to pip. It is, so your target definitely has to be above that, right? So you will put your stop under the low. And then you will get a very nice surprise. It doesn't work. It doesn't. I mean, it's very easy. Look at your account if you trade support and resistance, and you will see that it doesn't work. You don't need me to tell you that. All you have to do is look at your account, and you will see that it doesn't work. It's just nonsense. When it breaks support, it becomes resistance. When it breaks, it becomes support. Yeah, Daniel knows that. He's been probably trading it. He's one of my traders too, right? He's probably trading that stuff before he joins us, right? It's just the crazy stuff you get. It only worked one time. Well, if it works one time, you're not going to know the first time it worked because you don't know if it's where it's going to be the first time. It doesn't work at all. I'm telling you. Your target shouldn't be at the top. Okay, try that. Try using a very small target, and you're going to see what your risk to reward will do to you. Let me tell you something. Some of you guys may be new to TradingView. There was one pin bar trader who disappeared and come back again. Very huge pin bar trader. And I said to everybody, pin bars are nonsense. You should not trade them. So after the fellow lost a lot of trades, he disappeared. He lost a lot of trades. A lot of people were picking out. He disappeared, and now he's coming back with his pin bar stuff again. Guess what happens? It still is not working. It still isn't working. You will get lucky every now and then, one trade or two trades. But when you decide to do 100 trade and 30-something of the first 30-something you do are not working, you posted 30-something and 20-something of them are not working because they're pin bars and they either don't get thing or you lose that trade. Something is wrong with that strategy. That's so simple. You can go away and come back, of course, and hope that it works this time. Well, it's not going to work. It simply wouldn't work. And that's the thing. I'm not against any particular person. I'm against the system because I think it doesn't work. And I'm still to wait for somebody to prove to me that it works. Fibs are not a strategy. We don't use fibs to trade. We use fibs to tell us the areas, the percentage it could come back to, and the percentage it could go. That's a question from Sridhar, I think, right? If I call your name correct, Sridhar Kumar. We don't use fibs to trade. Somebody just wrote people's name. Don't write traders' name in here, please. We're not discussing traders. Let me get this clear to you guys. Don't use any trader's name in here. I apologize to those people who name you use. We don't use traders' name. We are not discussing the traders who do that. We're discussing the system they're using. I'm talking about support and resistance as a trading system, as a trading strategy. It is not working. It will not give you a higher advantage in your trading. Right? I'm not talking about who is using it. That's their problem. You can be one of the people using it. I'm not against you. I have nothing against you. I'm talking about support and resistance as a system. I'm talking about pin bar as a system, as a strategy of trading, as a way of doing analysis. It is useless. Whoever is using it, we don't care. Somebody, Alexander, who was it? Alexander, somebody said they're making 100% rate of return trading support and resistance. Great, congratulations to them. But here's the question: if you're making 100% support, why? What are you doing in my webinar? Right? If you're a very, very successful trader making 100% a week, you don't have time to look at what other people are doing. You care less what they're telling you. Right? You don't go into people webinar trying to figure out if they can help you. The reason most of you are here is you want to see what I'm doing, see whether that could help you, right? Divergence plus pin bar plus support and resistance plus ATX, and you can add 3-4 more things in it. It still would not work. It simply is not working. But here's the thing: if that works for you, who's the person? Sinia. I hope I called your name correct, Sinia. If it is working for you and you are making 100% a week, I will not doubt you. I believe you. I trust you that you're making 100% a week. Congratulations. Here's what I would like you to do. Share those trades and trading view for us. Are you sharing your trade and trading view? Can you give everybody here your trading view contact so they can go and check your charts out? Sydney, if you can do that. Can you share with all of us your trading view ID so we can check your charts out? I would love to check them out. I can't see. Did I miss it where we shared it? Did you share your trading view ID? I can't see it. I probably missed that part of the chat. Right. No, that's it. It's simple. Just show us how you do it and we will all learn from that. No, support and my trend lines has nothing to do with support and resistance, Paul. The trend lines I use, let me repeat this for everybody. I think this is important. The trend lines that you use are pattern lines. They're there to tell us what pattern we're looking for. They're not there to tell us support and resistance, right? Just to let you guys know. I'm still waiting for that guy to share his trading view ID with us because I would love to see his charts. I would like to learn from how to use it. Yep, I agree with you. Just show us your charts that you post in TradingView. Can you give us your TradingView ID? Oh, you're a new trader. You don't have charts, but you know it works. Okay, that's amazing. I always love when new traders knows what works. Okay, let's go. More questions, guys. Let's forget about it. Can you guys type your questions? If you've typed the question that I missed, retype it now. I'll start looking at questions now. Yes. Come on, give me the questions now you have. Do I use line charts, line graphs? No, but you can use them, and that is why pin bar doesn't work. Good question. From who had that? Edmund has that question, right? Let's take a pause. Don't post more questions. Let me show Edmund how line charts could work with patterns. You see the pattern hasn't changed? If you do that, the pattern, but if you were trading pin bars, all the pin bars disappeared. They no longer answer. That's why pin bars actually doesn't work. Right, so let's go back to our candles. Okay, Sanjay said he is stocked with some oil shorts. Sanjay, you should have put some stop, man. I'm pretty sure you were in profit. You should have put some. There is a possibility it will come back for a three-way, but we can't say that for sure. We can't say that for sure. I just showed the charts also. Yep, I'll post the charts. I'll post the webinar on YouTube for those who ask. Let me see. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. US CAD, New Zealand CAD will come back to Euro, New Zealand setup, sell setup. What about the Euro, New Zealand sell setup? It's breaking a pattern, not a support and resistance, Sienna. The worst thing you could do is try to tell me what I am showing you. You have to listen to what I am showing you. Don't try to tell me what I am doing. I know what I'm doing. You can't try to come into the webinar and say, okay, this is what you are doing. I'm telling you what the line there is showing us a pattern. It's not showing you support and resistance. So don't mislead people. It's all my trend lines are showing us patterns, not support and resistance, right? They're showing us, are we in a triangle? Are we in a wedge? Are we in an ending diagonal? Are we in a trend? Are we in a whatever else patterns we look for? A double tree, a triple tree, an expanding flat. That is what it shows us. It's not for support and resistance. I could assume you don't know that. So you don't make assumptions that you know what I do. especially if you're not one of my students, because then you don't know. What do you think of advanced patterns, bad butterfly Gartley? Here's what happens with advanced pattern. They will work if you're looking at a perfect three-wave correction. That's a good question. I can spend a couple of minutes on that if everybody pause a little. Let me show why they will work. I actually did a webinar say they work sometimes they don't work. And I can show you that in the chart as well as I can show you in here. If you have an impulse and you have a perfect 1, 2, 3-wave correction, which is a perfect flat, right? You're going to have a next impulse up. Advanced patterns will work perfectly because your advanced pattern will go like this, and it will go like this, right? And you will have your X, A, B, B, C, C, D, and this you will have this trade. And this trade, normally advanced pattern people will trade it to this level, but I say you trade it to the top, which is you catch the whole next impulse. In this case, if you're putting an advanced pattern, it will work perfect. But here's the problem. The chart is not that simple, and corrective structures are not that simple. They're not very simple three-wave structures. They can be triple tree and double tree and all of those stuff. And when it becomes that double tree and triple tree structure, that is where the advanced pattern structures, let me put it in the euro, which everybody trades, I think. So I'm going to show you some examples of the euro where your advanced pattern is not a simple three-wave structure. So we can go on the euro 4-hour. And we will find somewhere it simply wouldn't work, right? So let's assume, and this is what a lot of advanced traders do, advanced pattern traders does. Instead of looking at this here as the impulse, and if they had looked at this as the impulse correctly, you will have a 1, you will have a 2, you will have a 3, and you will have a perfect trade. This would be a perfect trade that would work, right? It's based on structure, but you don't know structure, so you use an advanced pattern, and you call this something, and it works perfect. It may not work perfect if you're looking for a 786 or a 618 because it doesn't always go to those levels, right? That's the next assumption they're making, that it will go there, but it doesn't always do that. But some of them are going to do this. They're going to use this as the impulse. And they would look for a 1, they would look for a 2, they were expecting a 3, and then they're expecting this to go. And that is incorrect. It will not happen. Not only will it not happen, if they accidentally happen, they will lose the trade. Because this one, once it breaks this stop, let me show you the magic. Once it breaks this stop here, it is going to reverse. Because you're on the wrong side of the impulse. And advanced pattern people don't really know structure, so they don't know which of those moves are the impulsive moves. If they know that, they will have a very high probability in trading the advanced pattern. And once you know structure, then you don't need the advanced pattern. It's like a bicycle and a tricycle. If you can ride a bicycle, you don't need a tricycle, right? You use tricycles so that you can learn to ride. So basically, you need that advanced pattern because you don't know patterns, you don't know structure, and you understand that the structure make three-wave correction. So you're always looking for that three-wave correction to move forward, right? That's the basis. That's the basis of how it came about, right? If you understand structure, you don't need the advanced pattern. That is why I don't put them, because I understand structure. And there is no need for me to put them. You can look at one that may be simple here. Advanced pattern people will say, this is your impulse, right? This is your 1, 2, 3, and this one will go. And that is why they're looking at so small, because it's not going very far. But for us, we look at that structure and we said, no. If you looked at the post that I have made, I said this one is going to go up. If you look at my post, I said be careful of this because this one is going to go up, actually. If you look at the chart that I posted in the euro. And the reason we look at it that way, because we understand that this is making 1, 2, 3. And now we're going to be looking for the trade down. And we're going to be looking for the entire impulse, not just a little piece of it, but the entire impulse. That is the difference between structured trading and advanced patterns. Not that they get it wrong a lot of time because they're simply using the wrong impulse. That is all. It's not that the patterns themselves are very invalid. If you put the patterns correct, they're very valid. Shows 9 me strategy. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Thanks for your comment. It's what I have to do. Okay, agree. What is it? There's much chance of gold to decline below 1, 2, 3. I am not sure how far it could go, but yes, gold has a chance of even breaking the up structure and going down. UK 100. If we have a couple of minutes, I'll do that. Give me a second. Let me see. What else we're looking for? I don't know how you use the strategy, Camilo. That's a question on whether you will have to test any strategy you have. Here's what you have to do. You have to test it yourself. You have to do a number of testing on it, and if it works, great, you use it. If it doesn't work, great, then you can, because you understand what you're trying to do. So you will have to test the strategy all by yourself. That is why I always write in the chart, use a strategy that you have tested. It doesn't matter who gave you the strategy. You still have to test it to understand how it works. So I just can't make an offhand comment on whether your strategy will work. How is the course structured from start to finish? Okay, let's finish with the question. I'll spend 3 minutes on the course. I really don't like talking about the course a lot in this webinar. Look for news. I'm calling a sell for a 30 pips bid. Yes, Euro New Zealand is a sell setup. We showed it already, but 30 pips base on support and resistance. Let's see what happens. 30 pips base. 30 pips is not a big trade, so I don't know what's the big fuss. I showed you the Euro New Zealand is probably going to go down, maybe even more than 30 pips. I don't know why you're only looking for 30 pips. Probably going to go down a couple hundred pips before it goes back. So, and it's not based on support and resistance. It's simply based on this structure that is going up. There's a possibility for it to break. I showed you two structures like that. There's a possibility for it to break, make a correction, and then look for this trade down, which would be more than 30 pips, I assume. Let's see if we can measure it now. It's not allowing me to measure. I don't know why this tool is not working. Oh, okay, it's working. It's working now. Come on. And you can see that's about 200 pips. So why you're looking for 30 pips only, I don't know. There's no point. If you're trying to prove something to me, you're wasting your time. Because, I mean, if you want to prove something to me, you have to put your charts out for us to see. That's the only way I'm convinced you can do it, right? I'm not saying you can't. I just said just put your charts out for all of us to learn from it. That'd be great. It's a nice question from Tushar. You've spoken about identifying what is a wave during your webinars. You mostly use stuff. Yeah, because I'm showing you complete waves that are completed already. What I'm not showing is the internal structure of that wave. And that is how we break it up, and we can identify how many waves are within that wave using the methods we use. But, oh, I can't tell you about that here. So, sorry about that. That's something you will have to learn in the course. No, not exactly. I see what you're saying. You're trying to say all the waves are top and bottom. That's not exactly how it is. Right? That's not exactly how it is. Now that's a question that I was just answering on the wave structure. I could understand you're trying to figure it out. That's not that simple. Can I show Euro Oz setup? Euro Oz is trying. We don't have a buy until it breaks the structure. Let me show you the Euro Oz. We don't have a setup in Euro Oz, as a matter of fact. Euro Oz, if you're going to buy anything, if you're looking for buys, you will have to wait for them to break this structure. You'll have to wait for them to break this downtrend, impulsively breaking that downtrend, making a corrective structure, then go. That would be a buy setup. That is what technically most people will call a head and shoulder pattern. It's going to go up here, and then it will do something like this, and then it will go. And they will say, well, this is your shoulder. They can use this as a head, an inverse head and shoulder, and another shoulder here. And you will have your inverse head and shoulder pattern, right? For us, it's just an impulse, a correction, and another impulse. So this was an impulse, a correction, and another impulse down. Right? So that would be an inverse head and shoulder pattern if you call it technically, if you don't know wave structure, right? That will give you a buy setup. For a sell setup, what you would like to do is you would like to see this make some corrections here. Some kind of a corrective structure like this, and then you would look for this sell setup. Right? If it makes that corrective structure. So it's not you are not going to get a trade on this either way so quick. It's going to move up and down, but you will not get a trade set up so fast. That's a question, I think, from Zahib. Let me see who else is asking. I'm missing a lot of the chat, guys, because I have only one screen, so I have to close it, open it again. Okay, we wouldn't be able to do extra charts because we are already way above an hour and a half in the webinar, and I think a lot of people are tired. We got over 100 people actually in the webinar, which is great. 86 people still in. Thank you, Patrick. I know everybody who's taking everybody who took the course are amazed with it. I haven't found somebody who took the course and said they're not amazed by it. Even if they're not amazed by me, they're still amazed by the course, right? We've had 2 people who are not very much in our group now, but they're still amazed by the course. Yep, I will post this video. I'll post it out. I may have missed a lot of questions, guys, but I think an hour and a half time, I think we can call it a day. I want to thank all of you for coming. And remember, use what works for you. Make sure you test the strategy. And don't forget to click the likes, because I'm not around. I wouldn't be able to post a lot of charts. And if you want people to see, I'll post the chart out now, and I'll post it with a video link. I hope you guys can like it so that people will get to see the video. If it's on top, people will get to like to see the video. Thank you very much for being here. I'm back to my vacation, and you guys have a wonderful time. Trade with care. Thanks, guys. Be careful. Trade with care. Thank you. Bye-bye. What?